members of the media, if we could settle down. The ANC is going to issue its official statement regarding the outcome of the 2024 general election. I am here joined by the Secretary General, Fikile Mbalula, and the Deputy Secretary General, and we will reflect and express the view of the African National Congress. I know that you've been waiting for us to issue an official statement. We have and are doing that this morning. Over to you, SG.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen of the press, the Deputy Secretary General of the African National Congress, the spokesperson of the ANC, Comrade Mahlengi Bengu. Having considered carefully the outcome of the elections and the results which will be certified and announced today, it is quite clear where the direction of the country is going in terms of that outcome. Comrade Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa, in his capacity as the president of the country, will be here tonight. As the president of the ANC on Tuesday evening at Luthuli House, he will speak and thank all the people who have voted for the ANC and all our volunteers and everybody who have campaigned in this election. The Tuesday event is not a celebration because there's nothing to celebrate in terms of the performance of the ANC. The Tuesday event is to thank our people and through the president and the leader of our party, the leader of the African National Congress, to speak to the people about the election results and the outcome. As tonight will not mainly represent the ANC, but will be about South Africa as a country, and South Africans have taken time to cast their vote. We are presenting a statement as a reflection of the ANC in terms of the results thus far. So I wish to make that particular point at the beginning so that we are much clearer about the path we are traversing and we are following. The African National Congress commends the people of South Africa for once again demonstrating the strength and vibrancy of our democracy. While we still await the formal announcement of results by the IEC, it is clear that the ANC has won most votes and remains the most popular party in South Africa. 6 million people from those who voted have voted for the African National Congress. The ANC has also achieved a decisive majority in 5 provinces. The ANC thanks all those who voted for the organization, who showed confidence in our concerted efforts to get our country back on a path to prosperity for all, and for supporting our efforts to rid the ANC of corrupt elements as part of our renewal process. The millions of South Africans who voted for the ANC have seen the effects of the work we have done to end load shedding, to revive our infrastructure program, to provide social protection to the poor and unemployed, to provide work opportunities and work experience to young people, and to hold those responsible for corruption to account. The ANC emerges from this election with a firm mandate to continue this work to rebuild the economy, create jobs and corruption, tackle the high cost of living, and continue the transformation of the economy and society. While the ANC has won the most votes in this election, the results show a significant decline in the ANC support from previous elections. While there are several factors that have contributed to the decline in support, the results send a clear message to the ANC. We wish to assure the people of South Africa that we have heard them. We have heard their concerns, their frustrations, and their dissatisfaction. Over the last 6 years, the ANC has been engaged in a process of renewal and revitalization. This process is not yet complete, and the election results show that we need to intensify and accelerate the fundamental renewal of our movement. We want to assure the people of South Africa that the ANC will not turn its back on renewal. On this matter, on the renewal and rebuilding of our movement, we will not compromise. The results also show people's concerns about shortcomings in governance and delivery. We enter a new term with both a clear mandate and a firm commitment to improve the maintenance of infrastructure and the provision of services in communities throughout the country. The ANC is committed to the formation of a government that reflects the will of the people, that is stable and that is able to govern effectively. The ANC is committed to pursue a path of fundamental social and economic change, for which it has received a firm mandate. Over the next few days, the ANC will be having discussions within the organization and with other parties and stakeholders on how best to establish national and provincial governments that reflect the will of the people and that take the country forward. The voters of South Africa have shown that they expect the leaders of this country to work together in the interest of all. We will continue to work responsibly, progressively, and at all times in the interest of the people of South Africa. We will continue to uphold the rule of law and call on all South Africans to respect the laws, rules, and codes that govern the conduct of elections. It is through the consistent application of these rules that over the course of 30 years, our freeness and fairness of our elections have been assured. We call on all South Africans to resist the efforts of those forces who want to weaken our democracy, who want to undermine our electoral processes, and who want to disregard the will of the people. As a nation, we will stand together against those who threaten violence and instability. The people of South Africa, as they have shown in the past, will not tolerate any threats to our democracy. The people of South Africa have made their wishes known in free and fair elections, and we must all respect them. The ANC once again extends its appreciation to all voters, and many of whom waited in queues for several hours, even late into the night. We want to also congratulate political parties who have won the hearts and minds of the electorate, and it is the people's choice that reflects the outcome and the percentages that they have received. The ANC thanks the Independent Electoral Commission, its staff and election workers for their contribution to successful election days. We also thank all party agents, observers from the continent and abroad, police and defense force personnel, and members of the media. As we have done since the formation of our movement, more than 112 years, the African National Congress will put the interests and the well-being of South Africans first. Let's do more together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Secretary General. On that note, let us do more together and remain committed to that mantra. I will at this point in time open up 4 questions from you, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media. I am trying to look in my left direction. I just wish you could raise your hands a bit higher, given the lighting in the auditorium. I don't see anyone to my left. I will go to my right. Okay, please just indicate. There's a very strong light that is cast this side. Just for my benefit. Introduce yourself, the media house you represent, and proceed.
Good morning, Alpha Ramushwana here from Eyewitness News. Mr. Mbalula, I know you've spoken about Zuma so many times since December 16 when the MK party was announced. But don't you think you sort of underestimated the power the man has, especially the province like KwaZulu-Natal? Because honestly, they mopped the floor with the ANC. And we have been asking these questions leading up to the elections, and we have been giving us, portraying a nonchalant attitude towards the MK party. Don't you think that the ANC, NEC underestimating Zuma and his party is the reason why here today? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Eyewitness News. Anybody to my left? Yes, please go ahead. Introduce yourself.
Thank you. I'm Dila from ANC. Just on Mr. Zuma himself, maybe could you have done things differently in terms of dealing with the emergence of the MK party? Are you still going to go ahead with disciplinary proceedings against Mr. Zuma for actively, campaigning against the ANC itself? Have you reflected as leadership in terms of the reason you've got such, not so great results as a party? And will you be speaking to the MK party in terms of coalition talks, given that they made it clear that they don't want the ANC, well, Ramaphosa-led ANC? Would that be something willing to consider, maybe the removal of President Ramaphosa in coalition talks with the MK party?
Thank you, ENCA. Do we have anybody else to the left? Right at the back, please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Powley. I'm from Inside Politics. When you mentioned that, I know it's probably too early to tell at this moment, but when you mentioned you're open to working with other parties, does that include the DA? And how would the ANC facilitate such a coalition? Thank you.
Thank you very much for insight. I will take my sister over there from Russia, TV, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it's Fikile Mbalula from the Daily Maverick.
Oh, dear, okay.
So my question is around coalitions and the non-negotiables from the ANC side, and then rumors around people within the ANC who've assisted the MK party with campaigning, quietly so. Do you guys know anything about it, and is there a possibility that the ANC will be looking into that?
Thank you very much. I will take yourself just behind Quinn. Go ahead, my brother.
Thank you so much, Fikile Mbalula from ROC News. SG, can we just get a firm response regarding what the former president said last night? Thank you so much.
If you could just reiterate what he did say, because he said a lot of things for the benefit of the SG.
Okay, just on the aspect of the perceived threats of violence that came out from the.
All right, thank you very much. I will take the last hand and then we'll have another round. Right there at the back, please go ahead.
Christian de Plessis from Netwerk Vriendwillig. SG, due to the ANC's performance, will the ANC be looking to remove certain people from power positions in the ANC? And is the job of the president of the ANC safe at this stage? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will now turn to Comrade SG for that first round of responses.
Tough questions. Thank you very much. Let's start with EWN. Zuma factor. Zuma was a factor in this election, and the same as the formation of Mkhonto Wesizwe. And we knew that. And we did not talk out of turn about Zuma. We were exposing the untruths in the campaign that he was talking about, and also defending our own party and our own organization in terms of those untruths. We never underestimated Zuma. We knew that he will get support in Natal, in Mpumalanga and Gauteng. And that is why we put up a fight in relation to him and his party, and also mobilizing our people. And you all saw us on the ground. And you even did mention the fact that the ANC is spending a lot of time and money in KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng, because you yourselves, you knew that we have been challenged in these two provinces heavily. Also because Gauteng, we won it, but not convincingly. Even last time, we just ended at 50%. So, and also because these two provinces constitute the biggest populace in relation to the election. And so our challenge was there. And we spent a lot of time and resources in terms of this campaign, working very hard to convince the people. And of course, there were big challenges on the ground. Water crisis in KZN was the biggest, and we entered the election dealing with challenges of load shedding. But Zuma on his own, and because he comes from that province, was a factor in terms of the campaign of the ANC. And it is shown in the results. We have lost even some of our strongholds to the MK party in KwaZulu-Natal. I mean, so it looks like we're marching with Zuma Machina as we're working on the ground. So it is reflected in the result and so on. So going back to the drawing board, this will be analyzed carefully by our team led by Nomvula, our DSG, who was heading our election campaign with Mdu as the election head. So the team and the research team will come to us and so on with all those factors. We had to fight hard in this election, ladies and gentlemen, because even our own research did point to dangers that the ANC will get 43%. But we stretched ourselves in a way that we convinced the people to vote for us. All sorts of factors were against us. You yourself as a media, collectively and individually. I saw you in the queues punching the line, change, change, change. And most of you, we don't control the media. Even after the results, you are using very harsh words. The ANC have been booted out and all of that. We are not booted out. We suffered heavily, but we are not out. We're still a force to be reckoned with. And your polls and everybody else, which we did not argue with, did tell a story that we will be in our 30s and all of that. So we believe in persuading the voters. And we ran a very clean campaign. A clean campaign, we're not dirty. We believed in the power of our message to the people and what we are there to offer. Of course, the sense of incumbency were also eating in our capital, so to say politically, in terms of how far we could have gone. You will see in this result that our enemy, which is a low voter turnout, affected us also. There were glitches here and there, which were fixed to a certain extent by the IEC, but we don't count that as eating in the morale of our electorate. We accept the results and we congratulate the IEC for all the efforts they've put to run a free and fair elections. ELCA, again, Zuma. ANC does not change things because of the weather. If you're a member of the ANC, you work by the rules of the party. And those rules means you've got to abide by the discipline of the party. And Mr. Zuma has been suspended by the ANC, and the ANC will follow through all the rules of the party. The party is not decimated. It is led by Ramaphosa and all of us. Yeah. And you don't change the rules because of the outcome of the elections. Otherwise, you will not have a party at all. So the rules of the ANC will remain. MK party talks, we're talking to everybody. There's nobody who we're not going to talk to. Like I said to you at the beginning, when I was talking to you outside, let me repeat it again. We've been approached by political parties, as it is normal, and the outcome is clear. Nobody has got outright majority. So we'll talk to everybody. We'll talk to everybody. And don't want to distort things. We're talking to the DA, we are talking to the MK party, we're talking to EFF, we're talking to everybody. Because the election did not give us outright majority. Those who don't want to talk, we can't force them. We're looking at our scenarios, we're looking at the options before us. We're having a National Executive Committee meeting on Tuesday, which will report on these talks. Talks about talks. Otherwise, there will be no talks if we reached outright majority. I cannot stand here and tell you that I have a mandate to tell you that we will not talk to everybody. I've got a mandate from the leadership of the ANC as of yesterday that we must engage with political parties who are engaging with us. And political parties have approached us. And we will be talking to them. We've got a team led by the Secretary General that will be talking to everybody in the talks about talks. And we'll report about those talks tomorrow to the officials, we'll report to the NWC, we'll report on Tuesday to the NEC. And the NEC will then take a decision informed by its own analysis that it would have received on these matters, what needs to be done. So that's where we are. Talks about talks are in full swing. We are engaged and we are open to engagement. Up until this far, except like in the last election, Mashaba was walking here like a king. And then he said, I don't know where he is in the scoreboard. But, I saw him, he won the recount. Elections will humble you, it's like a game of golf. Mashaba declared here that he don't want to talk to the ANC. You have talked to political parties yourselves, and you have engaged with them. We are here today. None of them have said they don't want to talk to the ANC. None. None of, even ourselves, we are not saying we will not talk to anybody. We've got our own principles that we have long adopted in terms of coalitions. And we said that a coalition is a consequence. When you don't have a majority, you deal with it. There are many options on the table, including a rerun, including going back to the benches, including working with others. those who want to work with you to constitute government. We need stability in this country. And like I said in the statement of the ANC, we will put the interest of the people of South Africa first. The coalitions have not worked for us in this country. It has brought instability and all of that. But it is the will of the people. It is the will of the people, and that is what we must accept. It is not an outcome. We ourselves cannot abandon the ship because we've got 6 million people who are still standing and believing in the African National Congress. If we had 1 or 2 million, it will be political obliteration, decimation. You can mention the names. We are not decimated. We are blown but not out. We're still standing. And we will come back. Now, you don't analyze a match by the results, wonderful results of Orlando Pirates yesterday. Orlando Pirates yesterday, which have really worked on me positively as a supporter. So nobody won in this election, only Orlando Pirates won yesterday. Ramaphosa is the president of the ANC, and if you come to us with those demands, forget it. If you come to us with a demand that Ramaphosa must step down as a president, that is not going to happen. We've got no such mandate. We are not going to engage with political parties on the basis that we don't want to talk to so and so and so. We're not going to do that. Because we don't run political parties. You ask me about MK party, we've got many reservations about that party, but we will talk to them. If they want to work with us, we will map out how we want to do, but no political party will dictate terms like that to us as the ANC. We will not. That is a no-go area to everyone. It's a no-go area. It's a no-go area. You come to us with that demand, forget. And I've heard some of you murmuring even in the bathrooms. Ramaphosa, when ANC loses power, is going to resign. Why did he stand as a president? You stand in an organization in bad and good times. These are bad times. When we signed to stand, people have asked us a question, Nomvula and others, are you going to step down? When we agreed in Nazareth to the branches of the ANC that we stood, it meant even for occasions. And we are leadership. Our leadership is tested. You don't run away. So, awubaleke empini uyabona ngoba isiza uyama ume ngci naxa ungumfazi umsali wasibili athwala thipa kabuhalini nomvula abathambona lo ukuthi uthwala thipa kabuhalini kunzima. So we are men and women who have been given the responsibility in our party to lead. And we will lead our party and we will give an account in the General Council, we will give an account even to the National Conference about this moment. And we will equally give answers as a leadership about what went wrong and how do we get out of this quagmire. We knew that we were in trouble. It's not like we didn't know. We fought very hard. Our structures, the president leading from the front, we threw ourselves into it. We didn't sleep because we knew that we were in danger. But this danger can be corrected, and it will be corrected by the current leadership. Inside politics, working with other parties, it will be informed by negotiations and discussions. It will be informed. We are open as the ANC. Like I told you that there is an option to work with a party, there is options, they are there. Even the last option of working from the benches, it is there. There's an opposition. The ANC will not weigh up, will engage with each, but informed by the discussions we've got with other parties because we did not win a majority. And that is a fact. If we won a majority, it will be easy. We will move with speed to constitute governments where we have won and appoint premiers in the next coming week. By Thursday, we'll come back to you and announce our premiers as agreed by the National Executive Committee. We will be done with that task. We've got to prepare to go to the National Assembly, talk with other parties and all of that. That work has begun as of yesterday. As I'm speaking to you now, we're talking to parties. We're engaging with them. The officials met yesterday already. We will meet tomorrow on Monday, officials and the NWC. On Tuesday, there will be an NEC meeting. And on Tuesday in the evening, we will thank our volunteers and supporters who have supported the ANC in this campaign. And the president of the ANC will speak then. Again, walking on the footsteps of being empowered by the NEC, but equally by this statement we're putting across as an organization. So we're ready to work with everybody, but we've got perspective, we've got principles. But you recognize that in these elections, like in a coalition, you don't work necessarily on the basis of ideology. Sometimes you work on the basis of interests, and at the same time for the stability of the country and everything else. So we must not be preempted through faceless reports, false, fake news. Mbalula is meeting with Rupert and Oppenheimer. I mean, what nonsense is that? Never met with them. And then Oppenheimer is about, if Oppenheimer loved the ANC, would have given us money, gave it to Rising Hands. And I don't see them here. Rising Hands. So he gave the money there. The ANC fought for itself. None of these people you are mentioning today have given us money or shown support to us. My preoccupation and our preoccupation has been to interpret the results and at the same time to make a reflection. And my job as a Secretary General, working with the collective and the officials, was exactly to do that. So I can't spend time here at the election operations center. No Mvula was here. Gwademan Kasha is your friend, is always here. And all of them, they've been taking interviews. Dunduli has been here. My job with others has been to sit, think, provinces, prepare provinces to elect premier candidates. We must interview those people. There must be meetings. The organization must operate. So where would I get time? And then at the same time, we must talk to other political parties. Yes, we talk to parties. We engage. And that's it. And parties approach us and we engage with them. And that is what we're going to do. Rumors and people, it's not going to help the ANC. Rumors, even myself, my sister, I've heard about them. It's not going to help our organization to start pointing, finger pointing, that in case an N were betrayed by one of our own. If we sensed that we knew in KZN particularly that Zuma has got a strong touch. If there are people who aided him, we will unmask that. But we equally know why MK Party was formed. And we know that, so I wish to pause there. And don't ask me again about it. I'll talk one day.
How do?
Not now, so Kuluma Gelinila. Not now. World News, threats of violence. Our statement is very clear, we condemn any threat of violence. If people have got concerns, they must raise them with the ICs through the procedures of dispute. We are not saying people must not dispute. They must raise their issues, but going to violence and murder our country and our democratic processes into violence is not going to help. There are many things that sitting here I'm not happy about. And that happened on the election day. But if you ran elections, you have been in the game, those things do happen. You can complain, you need to check. If you complain, is there any material effect on the results? Nothing. You can complain for a VD somewhere that things did not go well. If I dispute that and it is addressed, we are happy with that. So we commend the IEC for a job well done. We will be at dinner tonight of the IEC at 7 o'clock. Removing people, will we be removing people? We don't remove anyone. I've explained that particular point. The task of the leadership is to deal with almost sinking a ship. The results have shown us that if we don't strengthen the renewal and many other things we needed to do as a party, we will be gone. So it's no longer a pipe dream, the issue that the ANC can be cut below 50%. It has happened in our lifetime. So we need to correct ourselves, the path we have started, the things we have been warned about by society, by the elders, and everyone else. And I forgot to thank our alliance partners, COSATU, Communist Party, and SAMCO, and the broader Mass Democratic Movement, SASCO, COSAS, the Women's League and the Youth League for their contribution in this campaign. It was tough, but they did come to the party. So we ran a very smart campaign, even if I have to say it myself. We did the things that campaigners do to woo the votes. We strengthened our voter contact like nobody's business. The leadership leading from the front. We ran a very short campaign, 3 months. And we thought that would have made an impact, would have been heard. The people did hear, only 6 million turned out to agree with us. So we're not going to move anyone. Anyone who wants to do that, including the ANC, there are procedures to do so. I've seen other people. We will never allow looking at ourselves. That's normally what happens. You leave the elections, the consensus of the people, the immediate task the party is focused on is leadership. Who becomes the next leader? That thing is not going to give ANC any better result. You spend the next 5 years fighting for a single leader in the organization. Our job is to start doing things right, as we have done, in preparation for the next election, and not rock up in the doorstep of the people on the election day. Elections are not won like that. So we must continue with the good work that we're doing and getting in touch with the people, and that is what is important for us going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, SG. May I now turn to the right? I have 2 hands on the front table. There's that spotlight, so I'm going to ask that we continue with the practice of introducing ourselves.
Thank you, Mrs. Mahleni. My name is Yamtanda Kapa, News 24. Mine is about the Northern Cape. Without preempting your own diagnosis and analysis about what happened there, could you please just explain, did you anticipate what happened in the Northern Cape, and do you regret not directing more resources to the campaign there? Was that a shock to you? And also, during the campaign, the ANC has downplayed what the polls were saying. Going forward, are you going to
change how you approach the polls? And also, please just comment on Gauteng, if at all. Thank you.
Thank you, September. My sister next to you, please proceed.
Thank you. Erin Bates here from the Show Card Lounge. SG, just to go back to your talks about talks, to use your own words, you said that you have your principles that you've long adopted when forming coalitions, and that ideology is not necessarily a deal breaker. But how important is constitutionality and even institutions of a constitutional democracy such as the IEC when you look to your discussions with potential coalition partners? Here I'm thinking about former ANC leader, now MK leader, Jacob Zuma's remarks yesterday, threatening, in fact, the IEC and its work, which you've actually praised today. So how important is the Constitution and its values when you look at potential partners? And then, in terms of your discussions on a coalition, which really is the nub now, who is going to lead this country when most voters have shown their displeasure with the ANC? People in the EFF, for example, or MK, are seen as people who've left the ANC because of displeasure with the party. So they're gone, but potential talks with them as partners now may be dividing your very party within. How are you managing that push-pull, specifically with the EFF and MK, but with other coalition potentials as you work towards the meeting on Tuesday? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Shall I try to turn to other hands? Okay, I will start with, is this Junior? And then I will then go to the back. Let me start with the front table.
Okay, thank you so much, Masheni. Junior Command from Newsroom Africa. SG, you speak about the top officials having met yesterday. Has it dawned on the top officials the gravity of what just happened? Being at the helm of once glorious movement, and you are at the helm of basically the party losing support. Has it dawned on the top leadership? I guess that's the question. The second question, you seem to be pointing fingers at a lot of people, including the media, when it comes to the ANC losing electoral support. But is it not also the ANC's own arrogance when it comes to the lists that you put forward, the individuals that were implicated in the State Capture Commission still being there? Those same individuals, some of them making it to the top 7 leadership as well. Isn't that the arrogance that has turned the people against you? And will there be any changes to those lists of the ANC now that you are going to go into a coalition with other opposition parties?
Thank you very much. Newsroom. I now turn to the second table, the second row. I'll start with you over there in a yellow system, and then I'll follow with SABC.
Faith Daniels from ENCA. Mr. Mbalula, you said that coalitions have not worked for you, but it's the will of the people, and then you say that the ANC will give the voters what they want. But if we just take who is going to the National Assembly, for an example, the will of the people has been very varied. So you spoke about the ANC talking to a variety of parties, but can you narrow that down in terms of who you are absolutely speaking to in terms of working together at this point? And is there, in terms of the slew of parties that's in front of you, are there parties that you absolutely at this point are not regarding? Or are you really just entertaining everybody? Thank you.
Thank you very much. SABC?
Samkela from the SABC. My questions are directed to the SG of the ANC and DSG. I'll start with you, Mr. Mbalula. One, your loss in KwaZulu-Natal. What is your diagnosis telling you? Did your structures actively participate and campaign for the MK party using your own machinery and resources? Were you betrayed by your own leaders in the Provincial Executive Committee, in the RECs of the entire 11 regions of KwaZulu-Natal? Secondly, why did you not disband that particular province when your NWC visit last year fingered all of these problems? Why did you not disband them? Why did you not act then, looking at the catastrophic loss that you suffer today? Thirdly, who is negotiating with Tony Leon of the Democratic Alliance on these particular coalitions that you have? To Nomvula Mukonyane, your own members and leaders have said, if you go into a coalition with the Democratic Alliance, it would lead to the second most catastrophic ideological split in the ANC since the PAC. Where do you go? Do you go left? Do you go right? Or do you remain a broad church as you are? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Samkelo. I now turn to the other row. Somebody that is wearing a green jacket. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. Wikanya Malembe, MDN TV. My question is to the SG. The SG is saying that the position of the president is non-negotiable. There is a talk with the EFF. There's a talking that's saying for them to be in coalition, they would prefer the position of the Minister of Finance, while the PA is saying it will appreciate the Home Affairs. Are they willing to compromise on those positions? Thank you.
Thank you. I'm done with that row. I'm moving to the next. No, that's an afterthought. So let me start with people that whose hands were raised very early. To you, my brother, please go ahead.
Norman Masugwini from City Press. The first question to the SG is that some political parties have already made it clear that going into negotiations, they will have some non-negotiable principles. Does the ANC has those principles, considering or bearing in mind that you have a document that you formulated that you was tabled at the NEC last year and approved by or adopted by the NEC? And what would be those principles that you say these are non-negotiables as we enter negotiations? Maybe as a clarification, how many political parties are you talking to or have approached you so far? Because you are saying tomorrow you'll be, there will be a feedback, there will be a meeting, and then where you do the LWC, the top structure, and then Tuesday. It means you started moving as early as yesterday. How many parties are you talking to currently? Maybe the last question that I have is with regard to the former leaders. We know that some have, like the former President Thabo Mbeki, who in the past have already spoken out about the former President Jacob Zuma and all those things. One of the talks, I think, if my memory serves me, during the funeral of for former DSG Jesse Duarte, where he said the ANC the ANC structures was full of characters. It had weak membership in terms of quality. How well or how much involved are you going to use the former leaders, seeing that they came out during the elections, during the election campaign? How are you going to use them now going forward?
Okay, I think the mic wanted you to finish. May I proceed to the next media house? Or it's quite a number. Okay, so we'll have a third round for a change. There was a question directed to the DSG. May I invite the DSG to react, and then the SG will take the rest of the questions that have been posed to you. DSG.
The issue about where to move from here, we will engage everybody who seeks to contribute towards the stability of our country, the respect for the Constitution, and most importantly, the tolerance of diversity of the South African nation. That is what we would actually consider any other thing that is political, about leadership, every organization has got its own internal processes, and therefore the determination by others as to who must constitute the team of the African National Congress going into the National Assembly, as well as in the provinces and in government. Due processes of the ANC must be given a space, including the issues about the lists and stuff. There may be other people that are in other parties' lists that we may also not be comfortable with. And I think it is too early for us to then conclude as to exactly how we'll respond on the issues. We still maintain that our manifesto was sound, and that it is that basis that we must use to continue doing the work that we started with the campaign, and it must be an organizational program. The last issue I want to comment on, Comrade Mahlengi, with your permission, just to remind everybody that we had 27 million registered voters, 16 million voted. The ANC got 6 of the 16 million. In 2021 local government elections, only 5 million voters voted for the ANC. Post that, we now are in 2024, we have 16 million of the 27 casting their votes. Remember, there's been an increase on the registered voters. But in totality, the IEC said it's 16 million and the ANC got 6, which is a growth from the last local government elections, because some amongst you had also said, well, those elections, national elections, the ANC would have lost. So the renewal is on course, and I do believe that, as the SG has said, we need to be given an opportunity to deal with these matters. Thank you very much.
Thank you, DSG. First, I want to explain that we're going to have a National Executive Committee meeting to finalize the issues about talks and government. The ANC is going to have a National Executive Committee where we're going to go to conduct a deep analysis about the outcome of the election. Our statement that we have read guide us in relation to the outcome and what we seek to do. The outcome is directed towards shared power with others, and that's what we are processing right now. So as to what happened to Northern Cape and all of that, it will be a consequence of this deep analysis we will have conducted about what happened there in the Northern Cape. We have seen the emergence of patriotic alliance, and then we're running short of 1% to govern the Northern Cape outright, and so on. So we're going to make an analysis about what happened there. Our comrades in Northern Cape did well, and they worked very hard. You will know that in the Northern Cape, it's not the first time we are going this direction. In the past, we were here, small population and all of that, which we have had challenges at some point that brought us below 50%. So we need to make sense of what happened there, and we'll be happy to share with you our own perspective. I hear you saying, News 24, that we downplayed the polls. I don't know how and where. I speak on behalf of the National Executive Committee and the spokesperson. None of the people we deployed have ever undermined. Here is our position. Look at the scoreboard. It will determine whether the polls were wrong or right. And some of the polls, quite clearly, they were right. But we fought very hard to get out of that position. we said we don't respond to polls because some of them are ideologically defined, in a sense that they are leading a charge on behalf of others. And that's what we've said. We don't discuss polls. And to an extent that some of them were right, we see it now on the board, that they were indeed correct, that will drop below 50%. But we worked very hard to get ourselves out of that situation. And we have never downplayed the polls. If we downplayed the polls, we ourselves would have not conducted our own research. We did conduct the research, and it told us that we will be at 43%. That is what our research told us. So you don't go to battle and confirm your situation, even to your opponents. You fight to get out of that situation. And that's what we dealt with. And that research did give us pointers, among others, why the mood was at that point. Load shedding was big on the agenda. Water was big on the agenda, and all of that. South Africans continue to give us 10 out of 10 when it comes to social protection and looking after their interests. And they support. And then we knew that low voter turnout will not be in our favor, especially in our base areas. And it is quite clear in this election, as much as we won other provinces, but low voter turnout counted against us. We knew that Zuma is a factor in KZN, and that is what our poll, also our own polling, had actually told us. If he split in the way that he does and work against the ANC, all odds will be against us. How dare you're dealing with, again, it goes back to that deep analysis. In terms of Gauteng, it's an urban area, and then interests vary from one community to the other. So you will have to conduct a deep analysis about what actually happened. Did the middle class walk away from us? In Gauteng, what happened? But in Gauteng, what we can say, just so where to and all the other areas. Our people did not come out in numbers and vote. And you can't then say even the black administrator have not voted for us. It looks like we shared. Those who came out to vote, they voted for us. Because if it entirely went against us, it means Rise Mzansi will be the biggest party in South Africa today, if the results were to tell us something. Because that is the party that attracted, if you look at it, a lot of black administrators in our communities, particularly in the urban areas. So you've got to make a deep analysis about that. As to over and above the things that we know in Gauteng, like for instance, electricity. You've got people in Soweto who are without electricity. They are still without electricity up until now because transformers, they were cut out. Somebody alleged that load shedding is back during the election day because there were power outages because of city power in the base areas of Gauteng. And there were water problems and all of that. Some of those things could have contributed to dampen the resilience of people to go out and vote for the ANC. Because not turning up to vote is an enemy equal of the ANC in the election campaign, because small parties and opposition parties become beneficiaries out of that particular situation. So that we have to conduct an analysis. News 24 again, I made an example. I'm not saying we are not guided by ideology. We are guided by ideology. But the circumstances with your ideology force you to even work with people who necessarily do not share the same perspective as yours. We have had strange coalitions in this local government arrangements that we have. Even with people who said that we will not work with the ANC, but the outcome of the elections becomes something else. And then you must then begin to define models of the working together. The problem with the local government arrangement, it does not have models. It is just working together. A mayor changes Kamtuze, a mayor changes over a weekend, and then you go and work with others. National government, you want to achieve stability, constitutionality, the rule of law, all of those things must then begin to guide us in this part. But equally, how do you satisfy the interest of the ANC constituency that voted those 6 million people and more? How are they going to be served by the working relations between parties? Or is just, there is no honor among thieves, let's work together? It doesn't work like that. You've got to think deep and hard. And that's what we're doing, I can assure you. And we can assure you, as the ANC, we are applying our mind and all of that in terms of this. So I don't say that we are not guided by ideology. We do. And we are guided also by principles. And how do we serve the interest of the people of South Africa better? And the glue that brings us together is South Africanism. And then South Africa as a country, as a nation, must exist beyond narrow political interest. We've got to serve the people of this country. And that is what is important. And the constitutionality is very important. We can't just throw the constitution away. Talks about talks. We talk to people who are willing to talk to us, but equally the scoreboard guides us. Okay? It guides us that here is the meaningful party you've got to talk to. You don't just talk to everyone because it's time to talk. But even those who don't have the numbers, you talk to them. If they are willing to work with you. Others don't even bother. I saw my man, he has resigned himself from president candidate to a willing backbencher. And you see, a person like those and all of that. And there are all sorts of models you need to work on. And you've got to act with people you are talking to. Would you want to consider a government of national unity? So there's a whole lot of things that you need to. And if I want to work with you on a bilateral basis, what are we able to offer? And those are the things that we need to look at in terms of our engagement. Pointing fingers, we will not have the ANC because those fingers are many. They are many, they are more than 10. They are quite abnormal. There is no victor in losing. But we are all victors when we win. Everyone wants to claim victory. The blame game will kick in. Certain things, so and so did not do this. There's no principled leader in an organization, especially like ours, who work like that. You want to rise at the expense of others. You don't want to take responsibility. When you are in leadership, you sit down, you analyze. This is what we are going to do. And say, where did we go wrong? You don't rise at the expense of others. Maybe certain things we could have done them better, and all of that. And then you look at also the good things that you have done. And what is it that you need to consolidate as leadership? So those are the things leadership will help us in terms of its convergence and meeting. Blame game, Even the rumors are dangerous because you don't know who's fueling the rumors. Because the rumors could be coming from your opponents and your enemies to annihilate you politically. So you've got to be careful about rumors. Things that just get to be said overnight. You don't want to accept the reality that you lost in KZN free and fair to Jacob Zuma. You want to blame it on somebody. If others have aided Jacob Zuma, it's their choice. But the fact of the matter is that as we speak today, Jacob Zuma is a force to be reckoned in the politics of this South Africa. He is now 14% on the board. He has surpassed EFF. Nobody has surpassed us. We're still there with a reduced majority. But these ones have been surpassing each other. So Zuma has displaced EFF. You will have, I'm sure, more than 50 MPs in Parliament. So he's a force to be reckoned with in terms of his party and in terms of the outcome of this election. So I'm just stating a reality. I'm not manufacturing my own thing. So I'm just explaining the fact that it doesn't serve the ANC or anyone for finger pointing. That is the factor. Junior, was the ANC who accused us of being arrogant? We have not been. And it's a very interesting assertion that we're making, that we came across as arrogant. I don't think so. We humbled ourselves to the people, and we seek to do things differently and engage the people. Because if you are arrogant, you don't talk to the people. You take it as given that the people will support you. I've given you a detailed account what we have done in this election to fight the demo of low voter turnout of our people walking away from the ANC. We knocked on their doors. We asked them because we saw the danger. And we have done everything. Whether we have done everything to the point where we say we exhausted everything,